Well, hi, everybody. I'm Lee Bodette, host of the Test Drive podcast. We've done about 21 of these so far. With me is Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Lee.
And then our guest today is going to be Scott Pelkey, who works at Handy Toyota in St. Albans, Vermont. And he's an interesting guy. We got lots of cars that he has owned that we want to talk about. I'm the host of Test Drive on the YouTube channel. I've been a radio broadcaster for over 40 years. A host and frontman for Sport Car USA, and of course, a car enthusiast my entire life. So, Scott Pelkey, we welcome you to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Great name, by the way.
Yes,
solid name.
Why is that a great name? It rolls off the tongue, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Scott, you've owned a lot of cars, and I've been up to Handy Toyota quite often since Sport Car USA is located in northern Vermont as well. You're driving a 22 Dodge Charger Scat Pack wide body.
That is correct.
That is quite a mouthful. Tell us about that car, how you acquired it, why did you want that car? And I guess it does like 500 horsepower, right?
Yeah, 500 plus.
All right.
I've had a lot of cars. Actually traded in a Corvette for this car. And I've always wanted, I like the Dodge Hemis, and I always wanted one, never had one. So that's why I bought this one here. Couldn't find it locally because they're hard to come by. So I ended up taking a trip down to Mass to pick this one up at a dealer.
How'd you find it?
I did a search for, I think it was like TrueCar or one of those search sites for that.
You've done quite a bit to it too. I know when we were setting up for the Classic a few weeks back, we saw you coming back from Cars and Coffee, I think.
Yeah.
So we saw your car rolling by, and Lee and I were both talking about it, and it's very noticeable. You've got some pretty unique features on there.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit to it, actually.
Was this your list?
Oh, yeah.
Of everything you've done?
He has a list of
a mile
everything
long
that he has done to his 22 Dodge Charger
That's quite
Scat
the
Pack
list.
wide body. Oh, my
Well,
goodness.
Lee was saying it looks kind of like it should be a NASCAR with especially the lettering on the wheels.
That was my last upgrade, the tire lettering.
All right, start from the top.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't see many cars that have the white letters anymore.
No.
I've even gone to a couple of car dealers, not just car dealers, but tire stores in general, and most of the tires, you can't get them.
No, you can't get them anymore.
I think when I saw you with Scott last weekend or 2 weekends ago, that looked just like a NASCAR right off the track.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Get that race car look.
All right, well,
cool.
tell us what you've done to this vehicle.
Read your scroll of parts.
I have an MBRP Catback Race Series exhaust system on it with carbon fiber tips. And the thing gives it a really good sound. It's not too loud, but it sounds really good.
We know you're coming.
Yeah, you can hear me coming. I still have the factory cats on it, so everything's legal. Until they change the laws again.
Right. Yeah.
For now.
I put a AFE Momentum GT cold air intake on it for the cold air intake. Gives it a little more power there.
Did you do all this work yourself?
I did all the installs myself. Actually, I have a painter that painted that intake for me, a local painter that did that. He does all my painting for me. He's local to St. Albans. So that does match the vehicle paint.
Yeah.
And I did this company called Two Brother Designs does a lot of custom Mopar parts, and I have a lot of custom underhood painted parts by them as well to match the vehicle.
Which is in what color?
Red and black.
Is there a special name for the red, or is it just
It's Torred.
Torrid? Okay.
PR3 is a paint coat on it. So.
And you've got do you have black? You have black stripes, right?
Yeah.
Down the middle.
Carbon stripes on
Yep.
it.
What else have you done to it?
I have a Barton pistol grip shifter on it. Gives it that old school look.
I love those. We had a Mustang. I think it was a Mustang for a while that had one of those, and it looked sharp. Or no, a Camaro. It's good.
Yeah, really.
It's the green Flash Camaro that had it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
Let's see. I got a lot of carbon fiber interior trim pieces.
Yep.
Just about everything that you can.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures.
Carbon fiber on it. It's got carbon fiber.
Is it real carbon fiber, or Is it dress carbon fiber?
Dress carbon fiber. It's made by.
So you're not doing any weight reduction with that?
No.
With that
It has weight, but
Yeah.
it looks better than
Yeah.
some of the factory trim pieces.
Right.
It's not cheap either.
No, it's not cheap.
No, real carbon fiber it gets pricey.
Oh, yeah.
I got a BMR strut tower brace on it. That's custom painted on the top as well. Window tint by 5-Star. I got jack and pucks on it because the factory has pucks on the back, but they're like plastic. So these are aluminum, nice aluminum. So I put those. They didn't come with the pucks on the front, so I put those on the vehicles.
Go back to your tint. You mentioned 5-Star. They're located in St. Albans, Vermont. They do window tinting and a whole bunch of other graphics and things like that. In Vermont, now I don't know if it's different in other states, but it probably is. It's illegal to have your windows tinted driver's side and passenger side.
Right. Front, anything to the left and right directly of the driver is considered
But what I'm
ticketable.
I'm seeing a lot of cars that have full tint all the way around. And I've been told, this is unofficial, that police officers will not pull you over unless you're doing something stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty less lenient on that now.
Did you get the tint that matches the factory tint from the rear windows, or did you go darker? Did you go darker?
No, it's 20%.
Okay, yeah, that's about
That's
right.
relatively
about-
light still.
Matches the factory pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can see out of it.
So I had it done to my vehicles too, and I'm not worried about getting stopped.
Yeah, I've got 15% tint on all mine except the windshield. The windshield is where they start to care a little bit.
That's a bit.
Even some people have their windshields like you can barely see out of them at night. Like I have to roll my windows down to see my mirrors at night.
it's bad.
Yeah, and mine's not even that dark.
And I get that it's a safety precaution for the officers,
Right,
in
'cause they can't
particular.
see in your
They can't
vehicle.
see in your vehicle.
Right.
So
Right.
if you're touting something, it's a little scary.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyhow, back to your list.
As we talked about before, I got tire lettering by Tire Stickers, and they are a permanent. They're stuck on there with tire cement, so you actually need pliers to take them off.
Yeah.
They won't fall.
So they don't paint over the lettering. It's
actual
all.
rubber.
Oh, okay. So it's fused to the
You can get
tire.
different colors if you want. There's a whole array of colors you can get, and you
And-
can have whatever saying you want on it.
Those must be low-profile tires, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they call them?
You can get different size, height of letters for them,
Okay.
different colors. So
Nice.
That's cool.
a lot of race series use them.
Maybe we can get a picture of his car to put up.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw a picture up.
Part of this podcast,
Yeah.
sure.
I actually changed the brake pads on it. Well, the factory ones have a lot of brake dust. So I put some Power Stop Extreme Street carbon ceramic pads on it,
Yeah.
and they work really well, and a lot less brake dust, if any at all.
Do you notice less like fade in them too? Because I mean, I don't know if there's a great way to test it, but you know, if you're using your brakes a lot, the hotter they get, the less they work, basically.
They seem to work better than
stock.
stock, and I don't have to clean the wheels as often,
That's
Right.
nice.
which is nice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other stuff, but that's the major list that I have done on it. I did do a throttle controller for it.
What's that? What
Just
brand is
Plug
that?
it in. It's a roar pedal.
Okay, because I've heard of others and I can't remember what they are off the top of my head.
This
But
one's Bluetooth, so you can
Oh.
by your phone and change the parameters on it.
and that's just how your
It just gives the,
pedal responds to your foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Less lag. It doesn't do anything for power.
Right. It just delivers it
Yeah.
more accurately.
So was this a dream car of yours? How did you come upon a 22 Dodge Charger Scat Pack that you said, oh boy?
Well, when they first
Gotta get
came
it.
out, I didn't know they were making a wide body, so I was just looking at cars. As I always do, look at cars. Mm-hmm. And
I can attest to that.
saw a picture of this wide body. Like, man, that looks pretty nice. Like to get one of those someday. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't in a position at the time because they are pricey. But I ended up finding one, and I could afford it at the time, so I pulled the trigger on it.
Did you buy it brand new?
It was, you might as well say it was new. It had 300 miles on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Someone did buy it and had it.
One payment.
Yeah, he didn't. I guess he goes through vehicles really quick, worse than I do.
I was gonna say, I think it's quite the competition between you two because you've
Yeah.
got an interesting story with this car, right?
Yeah.
Where you kind of sold it.
Yeah, I had it listed on eBay, and I had it sold, like 100% sold, and I changed my mind. I couldn't do it. I couldn't let it go.
Well, I've heard of buyer's remorse, but you don't hear about seller's remorst very often.
So you actually had somebody who wanted to buy it?
I had seller's remorse, yeah, and they even came back and offered me $1,000 more. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do it.
With your long list there of items that you've done to the car, is there a part of that list at the very bottom that says amount spent?
No, I did not put that on.
It's probably smart. You don't want to know that number, I bet. Well, what's next then? Do you have some upgrades that you'd like to do? Are you going to supercharge it?
Well, I was looking at doing a supercharger on it, but they're not really designed, that engine, without doing the whole engine job bottom end.
You might as well.
And you have to take the motor out to do on these cars. And it's a lot of money. And
you might as well just buy the Hellcat that we have.
I'll just get a Hellcat.
Yeah.
We have a list of 9 cars that you've owned. We're going to go through them quickly. But as far as all 9 cars, where does this Dodge Charger Scat Pack wide body stand amongst them?
Well, you always strive for the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'd have to say I like this one the best so far.
Yeah.
Well, in the car I remember when I first started, like when I first met you, you had the Corvette. And I don't even remember, like all of a sudden you were just driving this to work one day. And someone had mentioned that like, oh, Scott sold his Corvette. I'm like, oh, that was like a rare
Yeah, it was a
edition,
2012 Chevy Grand Sport Centennial Edition. And there was only 2,201 produced.
That must have been a hard thing to sell too, right?
Yeah, that was hard too, but I had some neck issues going on personally, and it was hard getting in and out of that car.
They were much lower to the ground than the Charger.
I got sick of rolling out of it. So,
yeah.
Did you sell it to somebody?
I actually traded it in.
Traded it?
The Scat Pack.
Okay.
Yeah, I drove it down to Boston and traded, and he really wanted it, and I wanted that car he had, so
it's a good deal.
I got a good deal. So,
I would think Sport Car USA would have been interested in that car.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a Grand Sport, you said?
Yeah, it was a Grand Sport Centennial and had less than 3,000 miles when I got it.
Did you do anything to that one?
Not really.
No? I mean, I guess that makes sense.
It's and I wanted to leave it.
Yeah, if it's a special edition one, you're not going to want to
right.
change too much about it.
Yeah. So take us back to your first car that you ever owned, I believe, a 71 Camaro SS 396.
Yeah.
That was your first car
ever.
That was my first car ever.
Nice car to have for
That's
a
good first car.
After I got out
I had
of
a Corolla.
Well, we moved up this way. Actually, it was Jericho. And I worked for my dad building this new house of ours. And I told him I don't want to see any money. Just pay me at the end when we're done. And when we finished.
How old were you?
18.
That's a pretty smart financial decision for an 18-year-old to make.
So
yeah, it is.
I got my money. We went looking for cars right off. And I found this one locally in St. Albans and ended up buying it. And actually, my dad almost got divorced over this because he let me buy it, and Mom thought I was going to kill myself. Because she said, hey, you let him buy the biggest Chevy motored car that's out there. And I'm like, no, Mom, they make a 454.
Yeah. Yeah, this is nothing.
So I had that one for a while until I got 2 speeding tickets in it one weekend.
Oh, geez, in one weekend.
And I decided it's probably time to get rid of this thing. So I ended up getting rid of that and trading it in for a brand new Dodge Daytona.
So it must have been your first brand new car, obviously.
First brand new car, 18. And that was
18.
That was a lot less powerful.
A lot less powerful, yeah.
Yep. It's probably a smart choice.
And my mom was mad at that one, too, at the dealership. I actually bought it at Handy's downtown store way back.
Back when it was a Dodge?
It was a Dodge dealer down there.
Yeah.
I bought it there, and I didn't even have a cosigner. And she was mad because they let me buy it without a cosigner.
That's impressive, 18 years old, because it's tough to establish credit when you're that young.
Right.
They tell the young people today to go take out a credit card. That's going to help your credit score. I could never figure that one out, but by getting a credit card, showing that you can go into $10,000 debt in one day,
Yeah.
That's going to help your credit score, and it does.
It's like you got to spend money to make money, sort of.
Yeah,
scenario.
exactly. So that was your first new car. We're talking with Scott Pelkey. He's here at Handy Toyota, in St. Albans, Vermont. And Scott Nickerson is with us as well, as he usually is, from Sport Car USA. I'm Lee Bodette, your host of this Test Drive podcast. Your third car, a 97 Camaro Z28.
Yeah,
Back to a Camaro.
Yeah.
back to a Camaro.
Couldn't stay away. You've had a couple Camaros.
I was actually a Chevy guy at heart when I first started out.
I know, blasphemous.
I'm a car guy now. I like
Yeah.
anything with a motor makes noise.
What do you think about the Camaro going, see you later next year?
I'm not happy about it.
No?
Are you going to try and snatch one up?
I don't know.
Camaro's still in your blood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the
it is.
Mopar's going away. The V8
Yeah,
is
yeah.
going away, so you've still got something.
Yeah.
It should increase in value, I would think.
Yeah, it's like it will.
Absolutely.
But
You had another car, a 2009 Chevy Cobalt SS Turbo.
Yeah,
Isn't that a little car?
it is a very
you
little car.
it seems like you're bouncing around between performance and not quite as
Yeah,
much
he is
performance.
worse than me, though, I think.
He was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be a tie.
Well, this isn't even including like regular cars, so to speak, right?
Right.
No, but I did a little work to that. Not much. You don't have to do much to those cars. At factory, they come with 260 horse.
In a tiny car, not very heavy.
Actually, 264 if I'm not mistaken. But I jumped it up another 100 just by doing a tune and an intercooler and a downpipe on it. So
Really, that?
264 horse. And,
Just that for 100 more horsepower.
yeah, and I was beating a lot of V8s with it.
Have you ever gone to like a drag
Oh yeah,
strip or
drag strips with it. Yeah.
what? So you took that to the
I don't remember what it ran for a time, but it was decent for what it was.
for a Cobalt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing most of the work yourself?
That stuff I did, yes. A lot of the stuff I try to do if I can. Some of the bigger stuff, like a supercharger or something, I
That's a lot.
have had Quentin Brothers do that for me.
Yeah.
And then you did something that Chevy owners are rolling over in their graves. You went to a Ford.
Yeah, my first Ford. I never thought I'd own a Ford. My best friend at the time was a big Ford guy, and he got me into this 2004 Mustang GT. And I ended up having Quentin Brothers put a Kenny Bell supercharger on it
I'm sure that was a fun car.
to give it a little more power.
Quinton
Actually,
Brothers has been part of Sport Car USA. They specialize in increasing power, and
yeah. They're good at that.
yes, they are.
They actually did two cars for me. After I got rid of that one, I got a 97 Mustang Cobra out of North Carolina. Bought it sight unseen and had it shipped up. And they did a Pro Charger on that one, and it made 625 horsepower.
What is it stock? Like 4?
That one's 350, I think.
Oh wow, that's a double the horsepower just about. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
This was back in 1997 with that Cobra.
Yeah.
Wait,
a
when
lot
did
of horsepower.
So you had the car was a 97. What year did you do the work?
I actually sold it like 2 years ago, and I had it for 4 years, so
Okay,
about
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Did you ever take that to the drag strip?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that was that probably set some good
Yeah,
times.
It ran pretty good. It ran at 1245.
So you
That
probably,
was a manual.
if you're putting that much more power in it, you got to do a whole bunch of stuff down the line too, like drivetrain,
Yeah.
transmission.
Oh, yeah. Fuel,
Yep.
everything.
What did it run on for fuel? Was it
It's regular
fuel?
You have to change the injectors.
right? So you weren't running on like race fuel.
No, I didn't get into that.
I've seen
Costs a lot
some.
more money.
Yeah, but for all fronts, actually putting the fuel in is
Yeah.
that adds up.
Couple of Mustangs you had, and then lo and behold, you went back to Chevy.
Another Camaro. 2018, bought that new
Camaro's in your blood.
dealership in Pennsylvania. Went and got that one. Drove it home, brand new, and that one I did a lot of work too. A lot of engine work and cosmetically. So that was a lot of fun. That was really hard to let go, but I traded that for the Corvette. I kind of regret that one a little bit.
The Camaro or the
Yeah,
Corvette?
the Corvette.
Okay.
I mean the Camaro.
The Camaro.
Yeah,
I'm sure it makes it easier when you're going into something that's really cool, though.
yeah.
Like the
Always wanted-
first week, you're like, oh, I miss the other one. But when you're driving that, special edition Corvette around, You can't be that upset.
No, I wasn't too upset, but you can't have them all, right?
So is that your biggest regret as far as selling?
Yeah, probably.
If you were to get one back?
Is there any car that you've owned that you said, yeah, I wish I had it back, which you just kind of alluded to there, but is there any like impulse decisions you made? Like, what was I thinking?
Coming from someone who makes some good
Yes.
impulse vehicle purchases.
Very, very impulsive purchases, yes, for me.
Well, obviously the Camaro, my first car, being now would have been worth a lot of money if I still had it.
Yeah.
You know,
Little did your mom
I didn't know
know.
what I had, and
Yeah.
being that I got 2 tickets in it in one weekend, I figured, it's probably time to go. And
Did you get most of your money back on it, or did you take a...
actually, I got more money back for it.
Oh,
than what
well,
I
then
paid.
that worked out well.
So that did, yeah.
Hey,
But I could have got a lot more.
Well, the difference in the speeding tickets, it probably evened out
Oh,
to
yeah.
be just about
Well, I
the
didn't
same.
tell you this story, but when I got the tickets in that car, and I bought the new Daytona, I lost my license. So I had a brand new car, and I just got a
Couldn't
week,
drive.
and I couldn't drive it. I was still living at home, and my dad had it in the garage, and told me I'd be taking my bike to work.
So was there any punishment from your parents when you got 2 speeding tickets in one weekend?
Yeah, here's a bicycle.
That was it, right?
Yeah, I
that was
guess
the
that's-
punishment.
Yeah, that was the
Put your car in the garage.
You didn't. They didn't
learned-
stop feeding you at dinner time or anything.
No, because they worked me.
Yeah.
They needed to feed me.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're employed by them, so
Yeah.
they're gonna need you healthy.
When you get your speeding ticket, Scott, was it the same officer in the same town or what?
I grew up in Pittsford, and I went to Otter Valley. So I was graduated, obviously, and I went back to see some friends, show them my car, and I got a ticket in Middlebury on the way down. And then I got a ticket in, I think it was in Leicester on the way back.
So it was the same trip.
Same trip,
This is all in Vermont. He's talking about
2 different days, though.
Okay. Oh, right. Technically, it was overnight.
local yokels or stadies.
Stadies,
Yeah. Okay.
both of them.
And do you remember?
They were probably surprised that
Do you
there was an
re-
18-year-old driving that Camaro.
Do you remember how fast you were going?
Well, Route 7 speed limit's 50. I think he said I was doing 67, so I don't think it was crazy.
That's not that crazy.
Yeah, not bad.
Those cars, it's easy to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's what they want to do.
You weren't necessarily doing anything stupid.
No,
You're just
I was by myself.
going faster there than you should have been.
That's like regular speeding. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
that's regular speed.
people do that all the time.
Yeah. So, if you had to pick a dream car, not necessarily among the ones that we've been talking about here on our Test Drive podcast, what would Scott Pelkey's dream car be today? If you could have any car.
Probably a new Z06
Yep, Corvette.
Corvette.
Good choice. Yeah.
What about have you looked at the E-Ray, the one that's got the hybrid
I got to have something. that makes
powertrain?
noise.
Yeah, that's fair. Louder is
It's
better.
faster, but I have to have some kind of a noise.
That's fair.
No problem with the mid-engine? The
No.
C8s?
No,
No problem at all.
No.
Have you driven one yet?
no, I'd love to, but
Wait,
I haven't even
we got a
driven-
couple.
I haven't even
Yes,
driven a Stingray yet.
Sport Car USA has all kinds
know.
of sport cars, modern muscle cars, and we certainly do have a couple C8s, I believe.
Maybe Lee can take you for a spin in his. Let you ride.
Maybe.
passenger.
I don't charge too much.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't charge too much. So we'll have to see about that. So, Scott, anything you'd like to add to our podcast today here, our Test Drive podcast? You're a car enthusiast. You love cars. You go to Cars and Coffee all the time.
Oh yeah, a big car shows. I love going to car shows to see what everyone's got. If there's anything new out there. I'm just a big car guy. I always have been. When I was a kid, if I heard a car going by, I'd have to run out and see what it was.
Were your parents into cars? I mean, it sounded like your mom was not
My
super much of
grandfather
a.
actually got me into cars.
How did
He
that
was
start?
into the old cars. We'd go to car shows together, and that's pretty much how I got started. Go to car shows together, and he liked the old stuff.
Right. Did any of your parents or your grandfather own anything
Yeah, he had some
special?
nice Cadillac, Eldorados, and convertibles, and
It was less about power
Right.
as much in those days
it
as
was
like
more
luxury.
and
Yeah.
He liked all the chrome and stuff.
I hate chrome.
It all comes down to the era that you grew up in.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I'm old, but
Older.
I'm not older than these guys. I'm not into like Model A's and Model T's and hot rods. I'm into cars from the 60s and the 70s and 80s, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad, he would say just the opposite, what I just said.
Right, and I'm more from the modern muscle era. So
Yes.
yeah, it's interesting.
Nice
and
blend.
like you were saying, like it started with those like older Cadillacs, and now you're driving like a super high horsepower four-door sedan.
Yeah.
So it's like the same but different. Like it all starts somewhere, but the end product is not the same.
No, it's definitely different.
Well, Sport Car USA is not located very far from Handy Toyota, and it's not uncommon for us to come up to Handy Toyota to visit. And I'm sure in our upcoming visits, we'll probably see something else.
Yeah, we'll see
Scott Pelkey.
what your next ride is.
Right?
To be continued.
Yes, to be continued, yes. But we want to know that if you do sell your wide body, let us know when you do it and what you're replacing it with.
I would definitely do that.
All
No
right.
problem.
Scott, anything else for Scott?
No, I wish you luck in
Scotty's
selling
here?
that you will eventually be doing. Hopefully you can commit to it this time.
Thanks to Scott Pelkey from Handy Toyota for being with us, and Scott Nickerson from Sport Car USA. I'm Lee Bodette, your host, and want to thank you for joining us today for our Test Drive podcast number 21. And we remind you to check out our Test Drive series on YouTube, and we'll see you next time on our Test Drive podcast. And remember, let's never forget the men and women serving this great country of ours. Goodbye, buddy.